Good morning, colleagues and committee members of Parliament.
Good morning, Chair.
It is 9 o'clock, and we won't have a very long meeting today. We just need to, as the agenda says, first the first term program, 2 sets of minutes, and then the petition. We've got to consider the adoption of that committee. But before I really welcome you, can we observe a moment of silence for meditation and or prayer?
Recording in progress.
Thank you very much. Do we have any apologies?
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, members and everyone on the platform. I did not receive any apology, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, it is a pleasure for me to welcome you to the first meeting of 2025. I hope every one of you had a good rest over the festive season. And as we start the new year, we've got a lot of challenges that we've got to face, and old challenges that we also need to address. I am confident that together we will approach the challenges together as a collective and make sure that we have impact in the results for the people that we represent. Let us start this year with a renewed energy and a collective determination to make a real difference. And I hope that every one of you will also enjoy this year. May I then ask that we first start with I just want to make sure quickly here. Can we put the agenda back on again, Nasipo?
It's on, Chairperson.
Oh, I'm not on. Okay, I had a screen. Okay. The consideration of the first quarter term program. Can we maybe just put that up so that we can have a look at that? Everybody got that beforehand. And if you want to make any changes or make some recommendations, let's then please do that.
Scroll down to 20 years.
Yeah, you can. Okay. As we see here today, it's a virtual meeting, and we are going to address the stuff we need to do today. And then next week, we will also have a virtual meeting, water board briefings on their business plans. Everybody happy with that? That will also be a virtual meeting. If you are not happy or you want to make recommendations, please just put up your hand that I can note you. Then on the 11th,
Chairperson?
Yes, my apology. Yes.
Mr. Moore's hand is up.
Okay, sorry. I don't know why I can't see. You can see it's a new year, and I'm struggling to see. Sorry, Honorable Moore.
Thank you, Chair, and Happy New Year to everyone, and good morning. Chair, just I'm broadly happy with the planning. I'd just like to say that what I have noticed is some of the items that slipped off last year don't seem to be being addressed again, unless the intention is to address them as part of the items in the agenda. For instance, Amatola Water, we never actually completed that item on the agenda, and there's been a few items where we haven't necessarily been able to complete from the previous year. I just don't want to lose sight of some of those issues. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. We take note of that. What we will do is we will see whether we can't have a separate sessions with those work that we we did not complete last year. So let's do that. Honorable Ditebe.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning to the colleagues, everyone on the platform. Chairperson, there are two issues here. Last year, towards the end, we basically approved the recommendation of the department in respect of taking a portion of the equitable share of certain municipalities that were way behind in terms of their payment schedules to the different water boards, and invoking Section 2163 of the Constitution. I think you will recall, Chairperson, that period, that process, I think relates to, or rather is limited to about 120 days, etc. Now, we need to know what actually has happened in the aftermath of that approval of the department's recommendation in respect of 216 of the Constitution. And I thought we should be apprised as a committee about steps taken in ensuring that the water boards, as we know, we've long said that we want to support the water boards so that they do not go bankrupt by May 2025. In particular, Val Central, Magalies, and I can't remember which other one. That's just one thing. The other one, Chairperson, relates to that report. Do we have it already of the Human Rights Commission? I see it's to be confirmed that is the venue, but the actual report, just so that we know what's happening. We know there's a situation with regards to both sanitation and water, Mogale City, and of course, we had that petition. That's what I would like to raise, Chairperson, in respect of our program. Perhaps when the program, I see the complete program, I'll maybe those items have been included, but I rely on your guidance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. What I suggest is that, Nosipe, let's request the department to also brief us next week on the water boards and the money that needed to be paid over of the equitable share to those municipalities, whether we could get a briefing on that when we start next week with the boards.
Okay.
Honorable Moore, is that a new hand?
It is a new hand, Chair. Sorry, just to concur with the Honourable Ditebe, I had looked at the list of water boards and Vaal Central isn't there. And I think considering that Magalies and Vaal Central are the ones threatened with bankruptcy, it would be very valuable that they are included for the 4th of February, or else, at least as you suggest, a briefing from the department on the current fiscal status, not just the holding of, it's not withholding of equitable share. Obviously, it's a slightly more complicated situation, but not just that, but also the current viability of Magalies and Vaal Central. I think a full briefing from the department on that would be very valuable, because as of the last information we had, nothing had changed. And I think as we get closer and closer, this needs to be a bigger focus, because it could have a massive impact on our year. Thank you.
Thank you, Nosipo. You take note of that, and maybe can you just speak on the Vaal Central?
Remember, Chairperson, the business plans were presented by the other water boards towards the end of last year. These were the remaining ones that we didn't deal with. But since the member is mentioning that nothing has changed, we can ask the department to brief again on those water boards that have issues.
Yeah, thank you very much. Honourable Moore, that is the answer on that. And then the Human Rights Commission will be with us. We just need still to take a decision whether that's going to be in person or that is going to be a Zoom meeting. We will inform you beforehand. We have secured other dates, other venues for later in the month of February. So the water that we will indicate to you as soon as we, if we could get a venue, we will have it in person. Otherwise, you'll deal with it on Zoom. On the 18th of February, it's a briefing raised on this situation that the committee had on the City of Cape Town and wastewater treatment and disposal. So that will be in person in Cape Town. That will be on the 18th of February. And you see who are invited to make these presentations, and then we can take a decision on that. And then the week 24 to 28 of February, it would be oversight to Lesotho. And we will get the planning nearer going to Lesotho. What I just want to make 100% sure that all members has got their official passports. If you don't have an official passport, you will unfortunately not be going with us. So please make sure, and you can speak to Nosipho if you need some assistance to get your official passport. Is there any questions on that? It seems not. Then Tuesday, the 4th of March, the department will be speaking to us on that item, and that will also be in person. And that would be on the State of the Nation, and we will highlight that. Then on the 11th, it's a briefing on the Department of Water and Sanitation on the second and third quarter expenditure report. And that will also be in person in the Marx building. Then on the 18th of March, we will also be in person in the NCOP building, the briefing on the Department of Water and Sanitation, progress report regarding the status of disciplinary hearings. And we also invited the SIU to come and explain to us what they've done. There was also a request from the committee that the SIU needs to speak to us concerning this. And then on 25th of March, the briefing on the consolidated annual report of the water boards for the financial year 23-24. And we will still have to determine whether that will be in person or virtual. And then on the 1st of April, we will consider and adopt the minutes, and that would be virtual. What I would also then request is if there are stuff that you would like us to put on the agenda for the next quarter, whether you could maybe just send that to Nosipho and myself, that we can see how we can fit that in, or maybe it is already on the planning, but it would be appreciated if you can give some inputs on what you would like to see. And then the second thing I would also ask is, I would ask you to think about oversight. Where would you like to go? Maybe put that also to me and Nosipho, and then we will have a planning meeting again for the next quarter and see how we can accommodate and combine those oversights in the next oversight period that we will receive. On this program, can I get someone to propose we accept this and get a second on that? Honorable Ramayila?
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Chair, and colleagues and all members available on the platform, and Happy New Year. I support Chair, though I think I previously had raised a matter in as far as tracking of resolutions is concerned. I think members have raised matters that are sort of follow-ups on decisions taken previously. And I had said the challenge is that we don't immediately get minutes. The day we consider minutes, maybe we consider about 4 sets of meetings. And you have to do follow-ups on that. That becomes a meeting, another meeting on its own. If we're going to have that tracking tool so that when we have meet, we know these are the actions, these are the matters that have been dealt with, these are the outstanding ones, so that we are able to follow up. Otherwise, I'm raising my hand to support. Thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I will sit down with the staff to see how we can get such a register, and then on a weekly basis indicate whether there's reports that came in, and then also circulate those reports to members on questions, and where we indicated to institutions that they've got 14 days to report to us. But I think you are 100% correct. I believe that we really need to get a register where we can then see that we have requested this report from this water board or this department, and we can see whether that is still outstanding. We can have it on the screen, or distributed when we are in person there, and then we can also follow up on that. Is that fine? I think that would, Stanley, that would be what you also request. May I then ask Honourable Moore?
Chair, I was just raising my hand to support the item, to propose the item.
Thank you very much. Honourable Ditebe?
Chair, no, in agreement with Honorable Moore, in support, and you can imagine if we do exactly what Honorable Ramela says we must do, what our BRRR report will look like, among others. So, yeah, I think a very good thing to do, and yeah, support it.
Thank you. Honourable Bidlanga?
Morning, Chair. Morning, honored members and colleagues. Thank you so much. I also rise to second, but with a proposal for consideration maybe in the future, that we'll need to have to get a report on the programs that were on pipelines, or like, for instance, the Umzimvubu project, whether we can, when we do the second quarter report, we have to get all those report on all the projects that were on pipeline as a separate point, so that we can be able to monitor them during the course of the next financial year. But as I said earlier, I support other honourable members. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We take note of that. We will make sure that we incorporate that. Right. Can we go to the second item? Right. This is the minutes. We've got two sets of minutes. It was distributed to you, page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. And that is the end of that set of minutes. Can I get a proposer to approve the minutes? Sophia?
Thank you, Chair. I propose that we approve the minutes, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Honourable Kobe?
Good morning, Chair. Morning, colleagues. Yes, definitely support.
Okay, then I've got a seconder there as well. Thank you very much. Can we go to the second set of minutes? That was a meeting of the 26th of November. Can I, page 1? Page 2? Page 3? Page 4? Page 5? And page 6. Can I get Honorable Moore?
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, I'm not raising to support the minutes, although I am actually happy with the minutes. I just wanted to raise on the issue of the petition by the Germiston residents. I actually got a call this morning, coincidentally, and looking through our minutes and comparing to what is stated in here, it made me realize we are very far off. So as per the minutes, at the end of November, the city was intervening in this area and everything was good. Rand Water's project was on track for the Russell Reservoir to be finished by the end of March. As of December, they started watershedding in the area. Residents get water 3 days a week. Industrial areas get water 4 days a week. Not all the time, but they put on a proper water shedding schedule, which they didn't indicate anything of in our meeting. And beyond that, the reservoir completion has slipped through to July, as far as I understand. So looking back on this, it seems like we are going to need to have better regular oversight or recurring oversight on some of these issues, because a lot of the information we were provided is wrong. And to be honest with you, it looks like the area is now going to have water shedding for the next 6 months, which indicates despite us having gotten commitments from the department, things are much worse. And there's no follow-up to bring from after our investigation. So we leave thinking things are getting better, and actually they took a far worse change. So not specifically about this item, although it is linked to this item, just to say, I think we really do need to consider that follow up on some of our items, because or a regular check, or maybe even just having the researcher do a touch base on some items after 3 months or something, because this is a clear indication of what we were led to believe is not what has happened on the ground in the last 2 months. And I worry about how many other items this could be true of as well. Thank you, Chair.
All right, but this will only reflect on what expired in that meeting. I take note of what you're saying. Although you have said you have you support the minutes. Can I get a seconder?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you very much. We can then move to the next item. And while we are waiting for that, I think we as a committee need to maybe sit down for an hour when we are in person to discuss this issue that Honourable Moore has raised, and maybe allocate 1 or 2 members to a problem, and which those 2 members just monitor for us and then give feedback to the committee, so that we can take decide on what is our position and what is the next step that we would do. But I think when we are in our first in-person meeting, we can quickly discuss this and see whether we can maybe get a compromise and allocate 1 or 2, even 3 members to a specific problem that arises in the country, where they could also do oversight there and give feedback to the committee, so that we can take the way forward. Maybe I ask you just to think about that, and we can take a decision on that later. Then we are on the last item, and that is the petition. And who's going to present the petition? Is it Tumani?
Tumani, Chairperson.
Thank you, Tumani. You can continue.
Thank you, Chairperson, and greetings to honorable members and colleagues. I would like firstly to wish you all a fruitful new season, and I hope that you will achieve the goals that you have set for yourselves for this year. I will quickly run through the petition report. As we have recorded the proceedings of the 26th of November 2024, the Portfolio Committee on Water and Sanitation, having considered the petition published in the announcements, tablings and committee reports dated 26 October 2023, lodged by Honorable M.O. Clark on behalf of the residents of Ward 20, Ward 29, Ward 36, Ward 92 in Germiston, Ekurhuleni, calling on the National Assembly to investigate water supply challenges in their areas and assist with resolving these challenges, reports as follows. The petition on water supply challenges in Germiston, Ekurhuleni. The petition was lodged by Honorable Clark on behalf of residents of the following wards, calling on the National Assembly to investigate poor water supply in their areas. It was referred to the PC on Water and Sanitation 27 October 2023 during the 6th parliamentary term. The 6th term committee could not consider the petition as the term of the 6th parliament came to an end. It was first referred to the 7th term committee through the legacy report. The petition...
Tumani, my apology. May I quickly ask from the members of the committee whether they want you to read through this or just give highlights on this? Can I just get an indication from the members of the committee whether they would want you to read through this report for them or just give us the highlights of it? I've got two hands. Honorable Moore?
Chair, I'd be happy with it being read with. I understand that's frustrating because it can take time, but there are a number of things I think need to be changed in this report. And I think it'll be useful for us to have the full information to handle that. I'm happy to also just go with, if the committee decides otherwise and they'd rather just have the highlights, I can highlight the areas I think need to be changed. But yeah, I think there are some changes needed here. Thank you.
I saw another hand of Honorable Kumalo.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I think we need some highlights because we've gone through this thing already. So if you can just give us a summary, like the highlights, we'll appreciate that. Thank you.
Is there any other view on this matter? Because I've got two different views now going through it. Yes, Sophia?
Thank you, Chair. I support that we can get the highlights and Honorable Moore can then highlight the issues that he thinks is a concern that we need to discuss.
Okay, thank you very much. Tumani, you've heard that. Can you continue then with the highlights? And then Honorable Moore and other members will take us back to where they think there is a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson, for that intervention. This petition was lodged with regard to the complaints that were received from the residents in some sections of Ekurhuleni. And the issue there was that these communities, they were complaining that they sent a request or a petition to Rainwater to provide water to fill their reservoirs. But the Rainwater failed to do that, and then as a last resort, then they approached the National Assembly, which then referred the petition to this committee to deal with. And the areas that are affected in Ekurhuleni, those areas are supplied by a number of reservoirs, which is Russell Road, Signal Hill, Primrose Hill, Churchill, and North Ridge reservoirs. And these areas mainly are affected because they are located at on top of the high-lying areas, which means then they are not able to be supplied through gravitational force to provide water to these reservoirs. And the process, they are saying that the situation is getting worse, and there was no answer to that. And the department briefed the committee together with Rand Water, and they indicated that they supply the water from the integrated Vaal River system, and they've got a number of booster pump stations that provide water to the area of Germiston in particular. And one of the issues that they raised issue of non-revenue water, particularly for the city of Ekurhuleni, which was indicated as the lowest in Gauteng province at 29%. And this is when it's compared to city of Johannesburg and city of Tshwane, which are at 40%, and Rand Water's non-revenue water at 5%. And they also indicated that the consumption rate is too high at 279 compared to the world average of 179. And this situation, they say, it's exacerbating the issue of water in the area. And they also indicated the delayed Lesotho Highlands Water Project Phase 2, which is also compounding the issue of water access in these areas. So those are the main issues that contributes to this issue of water supply challenges in Ekurhuleni. And they indicated that the Lesotho Highlands Water Project will be completed in 2028. And the Rand Water has put aside 35 billion to add additional treatment, so that then when that raw water comes, then they are able to treat it and provide the municipalities. And the response by the city of Ekurhuleni. The city of Ekurhuleni indicated that the issues, they accept and acknowledge the complaints, that the complaints are genuine and valid. And they say the problem is that the demand now is higher than the available water. And they are also indicating that the topography of these areas is exacerbating the issues, because when there is low water in the reservoirs, then it's difficult to pump it up to these high-lying areas that are suffering from water shortages. And the area that is mostly affected is the Russell Road Reservoir. And then they indicated that they communicate the issue of water shortages through a call center. They have got bulk SMSs, and also they use councillors' notifications, which then in those notices, then they also indicate where the trucks will be located, where people can get water. And they have outlined really the areas that are affected, which are 3 zones. That is the Russell Road Reservoir supply zone, and also the Churchill supply zone. And what perhaps maybe I should indicate is that they've indicated in this report at the time the temporary measures that they've put in place, as well as permanent measures that they would like to undertake to deal with the problem completely. So those are the issues that they put towards all these zones. So I'm not going to reiterate them in the interest of time, but I will now delve into the issues of the observations and recommendations by the committee. And perhaps this one, then it's important that to note that the committee noted the temporary and permanent solutions as presented, which include, amongst others, the issue of water tracking, water cutting by trucks, and as well as issues that relate to the permanent solutions, which would only be commissioned around April 2025. So that is a date that is worth noting when we attend to this report. And lastly, I think it's worth to point out the recommendations that the committee made, 4.4, which states that the department, Rainwater, City of Ekurhuleni, provide a progress report on the commissioning of the new Russell Road Reservoir and its effect on water supply, including any other measures towards resolution of these water supply challenges by May 2025. And this recommendation is in relation to the date that they have indicated that they would have done by 2025 April. So in May, then when we get this report, then we'll be able to see whether they've done what they've indicated that they would do. And in that, Chairperson, I think that marks the end of the petition report as presented on that day of the 26th of November. Thank you, Chairperson. I will hand back to you.
Thank you very much. That is the report as captured for the petition. Is there any other view, Honourable Moore?
Thanks, Chair. So actually, it's been very useful to go through it. So thank you. Even the speedy version through it's cleared up two of the issues I'd raised. The one issue I would like to raise is with point 2.3, which we talk about the completion of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project Phase 2 in 2028. I think it's a misunderstanding of the presentation that we received. Lesotho Highlands Water Project Phase 2 would not allow Rand Water to increase the water supply to Gauteng. What it will allow is for, at the moment, they are exceeding their license. They've got permission to exceed the extraction license from the integrated Vaal River system. The Lesotho Highlands Water Project Phase 2 in 2028 would allow them to have their current usage, which they've got as an extended license. They'd be able to get that on a permanent basis. So there wouldn't be additional supply above and beyond, which would allow them to increase their water supply to Gauteng. I understand that Rand Water did talk about this whole 35 billion Rand capital program, but if you actually read the presentation, unless we receive new information from the department that they intend on adjusting the limitations, this simply isn't the case. In the presentation, there was a slide that said how much extraction they were allowed to take per year. With the current level, I'm talking now off the top of my head, I think it was 1,300 or something like that million cubic liters. And by 2028, it's going to be, anyway, Chair, I can go through the specifics other than to say this is wrong. And unless something has changed with regards to the department's intentions to adjust the licensing, I don't think that, although Rand Water did say this, it's not true. So I do think maybe this particular section needs to be removed or reworded or something, because it's a misunderstanding of the situation with regards to supply. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Moore. Honourable Moore, just remember that if Rand Water said that is what's going to happen, we've got to reflect what was said in that meeting. I agree with you that we could follow up to make sure that is the case, and we could even put that in the recommendation to say that we would like to get a verification on what will happen with the allocation of water to Rand, the cubic meters or megaliters additional when the Lesotho 2 is completed. So maybe that is a question to the department. And maybe what we should do is should put in the recommendations that the department must verify what the usage would be if the Rand Water, if the Lesotho Highland scheme has been completed. Honourable Moore?
Chair, I feel more comfortable if you look at 2.4 and 2.1, they say that, 2.1 is the city of Ekurhuleni says this, 2.4 is the department recommended this, maybe 2.3 could be Rand Water stated that the completion of, just so we understand that this is what Rand Water is saying, and it's not because the way it reads is this is more factual, and I think I'd feel far more comfortable if we could just include that Rand Water suggested or Rand Water stated that the completion of, just so we have this in the record correctly. I just think it's important because it is going to be a major issue down the line where Rand Water are going to be coming back to us to say, but we need this additional supply, and it's going to revisit us. So if we could, I don't think adding that changes the meaning of the sentence. It just provides clarity as to who is saying the sentence rather than the department is saying the completion of, because that would be a very different statement. And I feel more comfortable if we just say Rand Water stated the completion of LHWP2. And then the rest of what you suggest, I support entirely. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Reddy, good morning.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, colleagues. I just want to add one further point, which I think we need to keep at the back of our minds, and that is the issue of the water demand as determined by the water boards. You see, we're not factoring the water losses, and water losses is quite a major challenge. I know in eThekwini, there's a 55% water loss currently. And because of that, the minister has directed that the volume supply from Umgeni to eThekwini be reduced. And this is causing massive wide-scale challenges in various communities. So what I would like to see in the report, Chair, is that there has to be Rand Water coming to us and telling us what steps are in place to reduce water losses, because we've heard in previous presentations that on average throughout the country, water losses stand at anything between 30 and 55%, which is exorbitant. And so we need to see, it's no use us continuously finding ways to fill water into the bucket, and yet the holes are still there. So we continue filling water in, but the water is getting lost through non-revenue water. And I think at this stage, right at the planning stages, we need a team to look at exactly where water is being lost and how we are able to. Otherwise, we're going to continue finding means to find more water, and the water losses will continue. I saw in 2.4, there's just a little statement there about water losses. 2.4, something about water losses. I can't quite find it right now, but yeah, repair the leaks timeously. That's all that's there. I think we need to adopt a more proactive approach to dealing with water losses, or this is going to come and bite us in the future. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. And you are 100% correct. I was just thinking now, I have never asked the question that the water usage, if it's 279, whatever the case now may be, liters per day, does that include the 40% water losses? Because then it means that the residents are not really using much more water. They're calculating the water losses. They look at the bulk water, they look at the bulk water they buy divided by the users, and then they say this is how much water households use, and that makes a huge difference if that includes the water losses. And then you cannot blame the community to say, but you are using too much water if 40% of that is going down the drain. I'm not 100% sure on this. I think it's something we can pursue and see whether the figures they give us is actual water usage by people or by the community, or it is including of water losses. Do you have an answer for us on that, Honourable Moore?
Yes, Chair, and you've gotten it exactly right. All they do is they take the total usage and divide it by the population, which is horribly inaccurate, because not only does it not take into account the non-revenue water, but it also doesn't change the split between commercial, industrial, and residential. So obviously industrial uses a much higher percentage of water than other areas. So for this to be the case, if you actually work your way back from the 279 liters per capita, you'll realize once you take into account the 40% non-revenue water, and then you take into account that particularly Ekurhuleni, in this case, since we're talking Ekurhuleni, has a massive industrial center that uses a lot of water, our residents are very probably in line with international norms, very happily aren't overusing. So it's something that we regularly do, which is almost an attack on residents. And I think it's an unfair attack on residents because they shouldn't be to blame for high water losses or imbalance between industrial usage. So just for clarity's sake. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Reddy.
Chair, I fully agree with Honorable Moore. The issue here is that residents are being penalized for the fact that municipalities are unable to manage non-revenue water. And that is totally unfair. So I think what we need to do as the national department is now ask the water boards, in our case, Rand Water, to quantify exactly how much of that water is being lost in the system that we need to replenish through what is this LHWP, through that program and the other groundwater programs and so on. I think we need to start right from the beginning. Let's start to deal with this issue of non-revenue water and force these municipalities and water boards to prioritize this issue, because residents are paying the price for something that they are not responsible for. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. And I really think that we should set up a meeting between the two portfolio committees, COCTA and Water and Sanitation, also to discuss this and see what is the way forward, because the municipalities fall within COCTA and we've got joint responsibility for this. But what I think we should do is next week, Rand Water is bringing their plan to the table, business plan, and we can ask them on that if everybody is happy going that route. To Mani, the request was that 2.3 just be very clear that was Rand Water. You've got that, and could we then just also put in the recommendation what I suggested we do? What the department needs to indicate what will be the allocation to Rand Water when the Lesotho Phase 2 is completed in 2028. You've got that, Tamani?
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. Noted. And also just to indicate that this report, we don't report verbatim, so we try to make it. That's why then the heading says response by department at Rand Water. But anyway, that is taken. We will amend accordingly.
Okay.
Yeah. So and the recommendation is noted. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. With that two changes, can we, Selu, before I go, Honorable Ditebe, your hands up.
Yes, Chair. Chairperson, look, I agree with the thrust of Honorable Reddy's intervention. What must be remembered, though, is that while Rand Water, Val Central, and many others have their own infrastructure, the bulk of non-revenue water occurs within the boundaries of municipalities through the internal water reticulation network. So whatever it is that the water board does, it'll always be ultimately the responsibility of municipalities to ensure that once they source water from the bulk supply of water boards, that through the internal reticulation network, that the high losses of water do not occur. And therefore, it means in the spirit of cooperative government district development model, municipalities must be alive to that. Because it would really be grossly unfair, to then burden water boards with responsibility that primarily is that of water service authorities. And I'm not saying there should be no cooperation and collaboration, but we must just be alive to who shoulders what amount of responsibility in respect of water, non-revenue water. Thank you.
Yeah, that's why I also suggested that we also sit down with COCTA and also get their buy-in for their responsibility. Honorable Reddy?
Chair, I think we need to have a change in mindset. And let me explain what I mean by this. The responsibility to deal with non-revenue water should not be left only with municipalities. It should be the water boards as well. The problem is that the business model is that the water boards are not concerned with the water losses because all they do is they look at the revenue that they receive. And whether the water is being lost or not, it doesn't really matter to them because they're getting the revenue. And imagine if you had to deal with that 40% non-revenue water, it means that 40% revenue to the board is going to be reduced. And I don't think we are in the business of water, because this is causing an impact on residents. And we as members of parliament, we have a responsibility not only to these water boards, but to the citizens of South Africa, to ensure that they have uninterrupted water and that they're not paying for something they don't get. So I think that we need to impress upon the boards that, in fact, we should have a kind of a meter, a meter where we need to say to boards that we give them targets. Within every 3 months, we want non-revenue water to be reduced by X percent, 5% or 10%. And that should be a target that must be put into their KPIs so that the officials will also work towards this. I have found in some water boards that non-revenue water is actually benefiting the boards because it's giving them income and it's helping the boards manage their own finances. And this sort of thinking we have to move away from. I thank you, Chair.
Yeah, Honorable Reddy, I think your last statement that, they benefit, they can't benefit because they've sold that water. That water is metered and they are paid for cleaning that water. They need to pay the department. But I also agree with you to say that it is not just COCTA's responsibility, it's everybody's responsibility. Because at the end of the day, if the water losses is not dealt with, the water boards needs to spend more money to clean water. They've got to add on to their plants to clean more water, which is very costly over 20 years, whilst they could carry on with what they have if someone could just look at the water losses. So it is a benefit for them in the sense that they don't need to expand their plants to clean more water. So in that sense, I do agree with you that it plays both ways. And that's why I feel that we should sit down with COCTA also and have a discussion on this, because eventually the municipalities don't care, or most of the municipalities don't have the funds, and somewhere government needs to make funds available so that we can curb these water losses, because at the end of the day, if I add another 20 megaliters to a water plant that will cost you in the region of 1 billion rand, that 20 megaliters you will also lose 40% of that water through the pipes if it leaks. It's no benefit to municipalities. They get a little bit more water, but the water losses increase. But I think that is a debate for another day. I think I get the gist of what you are saying, and yes, it's our responsibility also to make sure that we don't just pass the buck to someone else, but we should not also pass the buck to the water boards to say it's your responsibility, or you've got to fix this. It's got to be a joint effort to fix this. Honorable Moore?
Sorry, Chair, I was actually just raising my hand to agree. I think that session with COGTA will be so valuable. We've been talking about it, and I think this is going to be one of the big issues of the seventh administration is working together as we've already begun with finance, with COGTA, and with National Treasury. I was also going to say, though, I think we've sort of diverged from the report itself. So I think this is really important, really valuable, and we should go, as you suggest, to try and, as soon as possible, find an opportunity to sit down with the COGTA committee and start engaging more productively. But on this report, I think we've got a good direction to go. Thanks, Chair.
My apology, Honorable Ramayila.
Thank you very much. Whilst agreeing with the proposal, but I would want to add further weight to that to say, even if we are going to be having meetings with them, but I would suggest we must be clear with them, even upfront before those meetings, that we request for the non-revenue water reduction strategy, because this cuts across both the water boards and the WSA. So if we could have a non-revenue water strategy from there. Thank you very much. That's my proposal.
Brilliant proposal. Thank you. I think that is what we need to ask COGTA is they must give us a non-revenue proposal, how they're going to deal with that. Honorable Dikebe?
Chairperson, thank you. At the risk of belaboring this point, I think we said in the past that the ring fencing of funds, both for CapEx and OpEx, in respect of trading services such as water, is vitally important. So going forward, that I think is part of what we need to do. We've already agreed that the department will give us an update on a portion of funds from the equitable shares of municipalities that are in the red in respect of their debt to the water boards. That's just an interim measure to try and get those entities to be going concerns. And I think the ring fencing part is critically important, because then it will force municipalities to dedicate those funds to the areas where they are hugely deserved. So yeah, I agree with the colleagues, and perhaps this is in line also with what Honorable Rady said. He probably thought about this when he shared an article arising from the Lekgotla of the ANC. So yeah, that there you have an answer in part to our woes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, thank you for discussing this. Can I ask, with the amendments to this report, can we accept this report?
Supported, Chair.
Can I get a seconder? Sophia?
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, is there anything else that you would like quickly to discuss before we leave this meeting? Honorable Reddy?
Chair, I'd really like for us at some point in our meetings to schedule, perhaps aren't we having a strategic planning session, this issue of water tanker mafia. And there's an article about Johannesburg where some kids got some tender for 200. And I really believe that this could also be adding to the water problems in the country, where water tanker companies are deliberately sabotaging water infrastructure so that they could provide services to municipalities. We need to get some sort of input into this, and really what is really going on here.
Thank you. We'll do that. Honorable Dikebe?
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, first of all, I'd really like to appeal that if we have an agenda and it's adopted at the beginning of the meeting, we do not have a creeping agenda by having other items towards the end. I do understand it's well-intentioned, but for example, I serve in another portfolio committee, so I plan things on the basis that the following items will most likely take so much time. So I then have to do other meetings. Obviously, there are other meetings that one has to attend related to either what parliament or one's party. So I'd like to suggest that we, in future, just limit ourselves to items that are on the agenda, because otherwise people may raise issues. We should consider those right at the beginning of the meeting. So that's my plea, Chairperson, to you.
Yeah.
To say, I don't know whether it's because it's 2025. Honorable Reddy's views on good governance seem to coincide so well with views of the ANC, the construction mafia and all other things. So, yeah, I don't know. So I don't know what's happening.
Let's not run into the politics. My apology. You're the gentleman, and now you use the opportunity to come in with us. I agree we haven't in the past do this because it's the first meeting and we just want to set this thing up for the rest of the year and get people's views. I thought it's important to get people to say what else they would like to have. I have mentioned in the beginning, Honorable already, if there is crucial stuff that you would like to put on the agenda for the next term, write that to myself and to Nosipo, and we see how we can accommodate that and bring that back to the committee and see how we can accommodate those issues that that you would raise. Honorable Reddy, that you will have the last bite before I close the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. The previous honorable member, I'm not sure who it is. What you said was perfectly done in a good spirit. You just asked if there's anything that members would like to add, and I don't think there was anything wrong in that. You did it in a good spirit, came from a good space. It's not me following the ANC resolutions. It's the ANC following what we have been saying for several years now, where the ANC itself has been sleeping on its laurels when it comes to water losses.
Okay, enough.
I'm going to cut you there now because we're not.
Okay.
You can have some coffee with the Honorable Celo, and you can then discuss that politics with him. Colleagues, thank you very much for this meeting. And
you wouldn't leave at that, Chair. You wouldn't leave it at that. I knew.
He will. Honorable members, thank you very much for this short meeting. And we will see each other next week on Zoom again and at the opening of SONA. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Thank you
Bye.
so much, Chair. Bye, colleagues. Bye.
Thanks, Chair.
Malevo.